Ms. Pezza? Ms. Joyce? Mr. Mora? Mr. Dupuy? Ms. Keeling? Ms. Henry?
Here.
Ms. Cook? Ms. Ferrera?
Here.
Mr. Rizzo?
Here.
Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Student and staff recognition.
I would stand, but this thing will not come here again. Tonight we recognize a very special teacher in the building. He is the Career and Technical Education Teacher of the Year. Charlie was chosen because of his dedication to inspiring and educating the next generation of construction professionals. His passion for teaching and dedication to career preparation through hands-on learning have significantly shaped his students' lives and careers. We are honored to recognize our outstanding contributions to the field of career and tech ed. Mr. Charlie Myers.
He's like, I'm waving. I can't, but.
From last year, yes, sir, was the construction of the Playhouse Bluey for a little girl named Sage, who was terminally ill. And the impact of going to the convention center, seeing the house, seeing that little girl and her parents, who are both physicians and couldn't help their little girl, it was so impactful on our kids, on every adult there. I spent the whole time I was there crying. It was just incredible that our kids in manufacturing could bring so much joy to this family. So, and that's because of him. We're going to speak really well, so everybody see him.
Thank you for making such an impact on the kids. It makes a difference. Thank you.
Okay, so we were going to recognize another teacher, history teacher of the year, Maeve Kennedy. She's on maternity leave. And our district teacher of the year, Mel Kane, couldn't make it tonight, so we're going to hit her in October. And Cheryl Etheridge also, hopefully we can get her here in October. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Truly appreciate the ability and the honor of recognizing you. We're going to start the meeting. You don't have to stay if you'd like to skip out. Good. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
Charlie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Beth, for bringing that forward. It's always the best part of the meeting, so thank you for that. Approval of meeting minutes, August 6th. Can I please have a motion?
Work session meeting on August 6, 2024.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the open session meeting on August 6, 2024.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the executive session meeting on August 6, 2024.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Monthly bills.
I make a motion to approve the monthly bills dated August 1st, 2024 to August 28th, 2024 in the amount of $356,571.91.
Any discussion?
Well, I would just like to say, I think that's the lowest amount we spent in a month in a long time. It's summertime, I guess.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Superintendent's report? Oh, finance, thank you, I passed it. Thank you. Finance update. Thank you.
Revenues and expenses, we are at about 12 weeks after revenue collected. Several months. Setting up the first quarter of bills, and we are on target to have the water
Okay. Yeah, because we're not doing budget, we didn't make it on the agenda. All right, so can we talk about it on finance? Is that okay? Can we talk about budget underneath the finance? So are we going to do line item transfers? Do we have to approve line item transfers? Is that typical? Normally, I don't know. Normally we do, so I don't know. You're a new attorney, so I'm asking you your opinion. No, we haven't. We don't, we do it in Foster, so that's why I confused the hat, so I apologize. That's why. No, the pension. It was the pension, because pension was higher than we budgeted. So, and that's what I asked for. That's why I asked for it. With other expenses, yeah. And then we also need to, I also want to talk about the building and grounds facilities. So there's $55,000 less we're getting from Foster. So we have to make sure that we move that money around appropriately. So maybe we can.
Yep. And
It
I
sounds
think
like
we
you
can-
get additional money from state aid, which is great.
Right. Yeah, and I think we can take a closer look at it too as the year goes on and exactly
Perfect.
where that's going to come from.
Thank you.
Once we have final numbers.
I appreciate the update. Does anyone else have any other questions?
So you mentioned that we're starting the audit, and thank you for sharing that. Are we going to be on target for completing the audit in a timely manner this year? Is that
Yeah, I
too
mean,
early to proceed?
I don't want to commit to the 12/31, but it'll be close to that.
Okay.
If not by 12/31.
Is there anything we can do to support that process from where we sit? Or is it just let it
We've already
play out?
gathered a lot of the information that they need for the field work, so it's really them coming in and telling us what they're going to need
Okay.
from us. So I think we're in good shape.
Thank you.
And if I can add to that, if you remember, we started the audit process really this year back in May. You approved a new auditor, and we started that process early. This is our third audit together, and this is the earliest we've started. So we've definitely made progress over the last 2 years going into our third year.
And if I may add, you have kind of moved around, if I could ask a question, Renee. How's the new team working out? Is it gelling well together? Because you still have Mary King in there, right? And you have, so I wanted to, is everybody working well? Do you have the support that you need? That's kind of where I'm going with this.
I think right now we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Does anyone else have any questions?
So I would just follow up on that, in that Mary King is somebody that is, we outsource her, right? So what's the anticipation on how long we will be using those services, or don't we know? Okay.
have an update from the because they put some, this is a learning so we should have a plan for November, December, so far.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you for the update. Appreciate it. Superintendent's report. Is there anything you would like to add, Dr. Plaza?
So there are three parts to my report this month. You usually see the personnel actions, the informational piece. I did add an update for the district based on our July meeting, so it is a brief overview, but I certainly want to go through that in a moment. If you can just look, we have 2 new appointments, but then we also have new hires, and they will be in my presentation as well. We have some resignations and some leave of absence requests that you would need to approve.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I would just like, no problem. I would just like to thank Michelle Safford, Mary Coyle, Wendy Steinhouse-Smith, and Amy U. Carver for all their work for the district. I wish them all the luck in all their future endeavors and just thank them for their service.
Thank you, Aaron. Is there anything else? So is there anything else before I ask a question for the committee members? On the leaves of absences, because we can approve them or not approve them, so I'm just going to ask, will any of these put you in a tough situation for the academic year, or for that time frame?
No, I don't think so. I think we're
Unpaid ones. We don't want paid. They're the unpaid. So you're good?
if you approve the leaves, we posted positions and would work towards filling
Okay.
them.
All right, so could I please have a motion to approve superintendent's report as requested, including the leaves?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any other discussion or questions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, so I put together a brief district update. I'm not sure where I'm clicking. So I'm on eDocs. There we go. So I'd like to start off by welcoming, unfortunately not everyone could be here tonight, but we have two new teachers at the middle school, Leanne Plant, our literacy specialist, and John Simmons, ALP program, and Leanne is here. Hi. Would you mind just introducing yourself to the committee and giving us a little bit of information about you? Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Welcome to the district. Thank you.
And Leanne has already started her work with our other literacy specialist at the middle school. Mrs. Rundell met with them over the summer. We really have some consistent work, 6 through 12. I saw that you put down your Meet the Literacy Specialists, and I know that you're starting a newsletter as well. You come with a lot of experience in Title I as well.
That's fabulous. That's nice.
So welcome, thank you.
Welcome to the district. Thank you so much.
At the high school, we have a few more positions, and then I'd like to introduce Margarita Dempsey. Margarita is starting our new French courses that we started here at the high school, point 4, so she has 2 courses. And again, we're thrilled to have Margarita share a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just say bonsoir.
Thank you so much, and
Thank
so
you.
retirement didn't last long. Welcome to the district, thank you for joining us.
And keep us posted how it goes at the middle school, if you can. I mean, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
I don't actually know if you know our mission statement, so I just thought it was important, but at the bottom of the direct exuberant, that is our mission statement, empower future ready graduates, passion, purpose, and proficiency. It is on our original set of documents that we have. I wanted to give you a quick update on RISE readiness-based graduation requirements. Those of you who are on the policy committee, we had a lot of conversation and discussion around this. We revised your policy last year to ensure that it matches this. These requirements start with a class of 28, our class, and there are many documents that go along with this, but I don't know if from here I can click the one-page summary, but if not, it's okay. There are 3 priorities, and the first one is prepare our graduates to create their own future. So you'll hear a lot. We'll speak about the ILP, school counseling, FAFSA. That sits there for students to understand what life is like after high school. So a lot of that sits with our school counseling department to prepare our students. The second one is increasing engagement through real-world relevant learning experiences. That's where our course credits have changed, not the amount, but what students have to take. That's also where it sits with our work-based learning. You've heard us speak a lot about that. In our CTE programs, we have flexible credits in there. So RIDE has given us some autonomy with some of those things. It's also where our world language requirement sits. It's where we're able to offer Algebra 1 for high school credit in the middle school, which we are doing. So that sits in priority 2, the more, I'd say, curricular academic pieces. And then priority 3 is supporting our children and families, and that's exactly what it is. It's how we reach out and inform parents and support parents through their child's educational journey. So more to come as we develop it, but I can say trust that our high school and middle school teams understand these, and as they're being rolled out, we are in compliance with them. We actually had 2 RIDE representatives come out and meet with our team and some teachers, and we spoke about specific situations and opportunities for kids. So we are well versed, and we're starting to develop what we need to ensure that we're definitely in compliance. I wanted to give you an update on our CTE programs because we hear a lot of numbers and information that's kind of used freely. I don't know if you know, so it's important for me to make sure you do know that we currently have 15 RIDE approved programs. We had 2 more that were approved last year. It was our firefighting and our education. 13 out of our 15 programs provide college credit opportunities. I don't want to read all of this to you, but Karen Sarkis is here. As well as you know, she oversees our CTE programs. And so if you had any specific questions, you certainly could ask. I think the 4th bullet down is the 4th and the almost second to last bullet. The 4th one says 81% of our graduates met their 80 hours of work-based learning requirements. That's over 4 years, but that's a testament to the work like Charlie Myers, right, that he's doing. He's seeking those opportunities for our students to get out of school, to have these work-based learning experiences, and then they're pulled back into the classroom. That doesn't happen with me as superintendent trying to design it, and principals can't design it. The teachers seek these out, and then they follow through with their partnerships, their partner teams.
Matt, I'm sorry to interrupt you. So that's fabulous. I'm not taking that, I'm not discrediting that at all. But my question is, what happens to the 19%? So do they not? So if 81% met their 80 hours, what about the other 19%? So what happens to them?
They could have come close to the 80 hours, but didn't completely complete
So
them.
do they not get the credit? That's what I was kind of wondering. What happens if they don't get it?
So they can still get credit for their courses. They still can get the credentials. What they wouldn't get is the completion a CTE completer because they have to complete those work-based learning hours. So it doesn't penalize them in graduation.
No.
No, but it's not a recognition or an
The
acknowledgement.
certification.
Yep.
Yes, okay.
And then,
Ready?
oh,
Glenn,
sorry.
ready?
So, oh, no, that's okay. So I had a quick question for you. We have 15 CTE programs. Do we ever phase any out or identify any that were underutilized? And are we in the process of brainstorming what program 16, 17, and 18 will be? How do we keep it fresh, basically?
Well, those fresh.
I know we
That's
just
new
did.
one.
Yep.
The best ones are the ones that come from teachers. Right, so we had these two that came up and there were interest from the two teachers who were teaching them, and so we go through the process with RIDE to propose them. We do potentially have one that we're speaking about, right, that's a new one that might be up and coming. But again, there's a process through RIDE. RIDE has to approve it. You can't just say, I want to do this, CTE program, and hey, let me try it on a whim. There's also an audit that happens. I don't know the timeline for that. They've been pushed back a little bit, but they come and they audit your program to ensure that you're still meeting the criteria that you need to. We have not talked about phasing any out right now. We still have student interest. And the great thing about the CTE programs, and I know I said Karen can speak, so I will stop in a moment. But the great thing about our CTE programs is that you don't have to be identified in the CTE program to take the course. We are a comprehensive.
That's
high school.
wonderful. Yeah.
So it can be an elective, and you can say, I'll try it 1 year, and I might not like it. That's okay. So it's not one or the other.
I love the idea of having the staff drive some of these programs. I would also just encourage, and I think you already do this, but to reach out to graduates in the 0 to 5 year range out of school to see if there's programs that they feel might have been beneficial to them as they entered the workforce or entered college, whatever their path might have been, that we might be able to provide here. I think
And there is an incredible increase in our annual reporting. That last bullet is really loaded. I'm looking at it and saying, my goodness. There's a lot of reporting that has to go to RIDE, so they are also making sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. So it's not just a free, we like it and we want to try it. There's definitely accountability. And the bullet up from the bottom, the second one, is 75% of our graduates were program completers. That's impressive because there's a lot that has to happen first in to complete a program.
So thank you. I forget, it's like, it feels like it was so long ago, but yet it wasn't. And that would impact their ability to get the work-based learning requirements, so that could have skewed those numbers significantly. So thank you for bringing that to light. I appreciate it, Karen, thank you.
There's also a graphic there, but I can share that with you later. But what we're trying to do is capture a one-pager that's exciting and eye-catching and has a lot of this so that if you speak about it in the community, you'll have something that you could easily reference. Okay. All right, this is a little bit of a switch. It looks like you're seeing double. No, you're not. Except for the PMS on the top left and the PHS on the top right and the word student and graduate. So back in the 1920 school year when the high school was going through their accreditation, we started actually earlier than that. And you heard us talk about transferable skills and vision of a student, vision of a graduate. So we are making a very strong focus between the middle and high school that these are the 4 skills, the learner qualities that we are expecting to be implemented in the classrooms across the district. Some of it will be reported out on our report card as well. Dave's been working hard to make that user-friendly. So citizen thinker, learner, communicator, and what we've done at both schools, and I know Mrs. Rundell has done it with the assessments at the high school. They're a little further along because they're familiar with it. But these colors matter and the icons matter. They were actually created by a student back in 2019-20. So assessments, if assessment is really designed to pull out defending an argument and it's a thinker, then the teacher might put a blue stamp or might identify it in a blue way. So what we're trying to do is make it so that this is language that the students are used to and they're reflecting on citizen thinker, learner, communicator. So we're starting this in the 6th grade. And so I wanted to just, this is a slide that has a lot of information, but throughout the year I can certainly dig a little deeper. We have for our academics and curriculum, we are focusing on vision of a student middle school, vision of a graduate high school, same language, but clearly different expectations, right? What does it look like in 6th grade is different from 12th grade, but it's still the same language. For our English curriculum, we have extended the contract with the current publisher. You all approved that in July. We have a math pilot for grades 6 through Algebra 2. This allows us to have that Algebra 1 credit in the middle school, which can be counted on a student's transcript as a high school credit. So we're piloting that. Social studies, 6 through 8. We have signed up for RIDE's science interim assessments. We currently have 18 AP courses at the high school, which is a high number for a student body of about 900 students. We really offer a lot of opportunities. Remember, if a student scores a 3 or higher, they get that college credit for an AP course. And we have 26 courses that can earn college credit. We have, oh gosh, I think our 4th year now, Amanda, of implementing our science of reading work. Is it year 4 maybe? Year 3? Just about that, yeah. And Amanda is our literacy district coordinator. You know that, so she's been very hard at work of implementing the science of reading, and that is 6 through 12. That is a requirement. I have a link there, so I can share the slide presentation with you. But at the middle school, we've started a core class that's aligned to the vision of the student competencies. So we're really working this month on citizen, and then we'll expand to learner, incorporating learner. So how am I a good student, and how am I a smart student? What does it mean to be a good student and a good citizen? We have Spanish 1, and Algebra 1, and Computer Science high school credits for graduation requirements in the 8th grade this current school year.
What's different about Algebra 1? Because I thought that was already offered.
It was offered, but up until this, you couldn't count it as a high school credit. So now we have the high school curriculum, same as taught in the middle school, exactly the same. So a student can come into high school with already a credit for math. Where before they could have taken math and would still have their 4 more
extra
years.
credit. Yeah.
Yes, now they can come with already 1 credit and they still need 4 years of math.
Gotcha.
But now they come in only in 3. As I shared with you last spring, we have revised the MTSS structure at the middle school. And so we're working towards implementing that. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but we have a non-rotating schedule now at the middle school as well. And we have green and white days, which mirrors a little bit more of enhancement at the high school.
I was like this, Mark, thank you for bringing that to my attention, bringing that up. That's huge. That frees up an opportunity because it takes something else to their life. So thank you for doing that, because that's huge.
And the same with the Spanish 1, because as you know, they have to have 2 years now of a world language. So if they come and start if they already have 1 coming in into 9th grade, it does free up.
So was it transferable before, Spanish was?
No. It has to be taught by a high school teacher, same curriculum. So we changed the schedule so it is, and if a teacher was taught at the high school, same curriculum.
Thank you for doing that. That's awesome.
Can I just add that I think the green and white thing was a really great idea. I think it's going to minimize confusion for students too, because I even noticed with my own son, like we'd come in late and they'd be like, "What class are you going to?" And he'd be like, "I have no idea. Why don't you tell me?" So I think it's good to set kids up for success that way. Yeah, simplify things.
And we did have a scheduling team. We met last year and did a year-long work and input, and that was one of the suggestions was minimize the 10 days or 8 days. Okay, and then I just wanted to give you a little brief information about the opening of school. August 26th and 27th are 2 days with faculty and staff. They are for professional learning and orientation. And our work was focused on how might you contribute to building the collaborative culture of a professional learning community, and how will we work together to achieve a collective purpose of learning for all. So our work was grounded in those two essential questions. Our schedules looked something like this. On the first day we kicked off, I had a district presentation that really included, the key elements of instruction. Amanda shared her literacy plan and went a little bit deeper into it, and then we spoke about communication. Then the faculty and staff had time in their individual buildings. Then we came back the next day, and as you can see, it was a really packed agenda. And then again, there was time for them to be together as a district, and then also go to their individual buildings. And then lastly, the opening of school for students. You know that this year we did something different where we had 6th and 9th grade only come on the 28th, and then we had all grades on the 29th. And I thought it would be a good idea if Ms. Marcotte and Mrs. Grundell could give you a few highlights of those days. Whoever wants to go first.
Don't fight over it, ladies.
Hi, so I'm really excited to speak about the opening of school this year at the high school. This was the first year that we were able to do an active orientation. And so when the neighborhood superintendent and my team principal, much of the stuff that she gave me, I was able to build off of and draw from, but we did not have an active orientation before, so I really had to start from scratch, which was really scary and exciting. So I did reach out to my teachers, and the response, they're volunteering their time throughout the summer to help put this 9th grade orientation together. The response was overwhelming. The mom teachers that stepped up to really help this day. And we came up with a structure that involved 4 stations that our freshmen rotated through. Academics, setting yourself up to be a successful scholar at the high school. Behavioral expectations, really setting the culture of the school, setting up kindness and respect culture. Technology, student platforms that we use, and we use peer mentors. So our 11th and 12th grade peer mentors came in. They gave the 9th graders tours. That was our morning. Then we moved into a cookout in the cafeteria, so cooking. And the class advisors set it all up with the rooms. It was awesome. The 9th graders got their food, and the upperclassmen did some activities with them, socialization activities. Every student, every 9th grader was engaged. They were up, they were socializing, they were participating in the activity. It was awesome. I did send out my September newsletter to all of you today with some pictures from the day. It was really fantastic. I mean, it looked great on paper in the summer, but you never know what it's going to look like when it comes to life, and I was really excited. Then in the afternoon, we moved into showing the 9th graders what our clubs and interests. They had an opportunity to speak to our different club interest advisors, get a sense of getting involved really early on so that you feel a sense of belonging in the community. And then we moved into Ms. Dion and Ms. Murray talked about our student support, that kids know where to go, whether they need assistance, psychologists, et cetera. They were trying to stress that they're not alone. We understand it's going to be difficult. We want them to know that we can help that support. And then Karen and the researchers met with our CTP program students, and so they were squared away on what they have to do for their CTP program. At the end of each week, I do send out a weekly feedback to my faculty that way I can get it's anonymous. So I can get that feedback and all of the feedback is very positive. It's very mindful weeks that I will make for next year. But all in all, it was a great day. Thank you. So our key was similar. That's going to be a bit more brief. Realizing too that baby eyes. We don't need to look at the video like this. We need to sense it.
Thank you. Aaron, you have a question?
I just
Hold
have
on,
to
you're
say,
not free that easy.
well, for both of you, including Superintendent Palazzo, just that this is absolutely wonderful. I'm so glad to hear this because it also brought me back to like college days in terms of that freshman move-in, and where during that, freshman orientation, like again, the upperclassmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors didn't come in until the next day for moving in, but yet there were also team building exercises for those freshmen to build that camaraderie across, and I think that's absolutely phenomenal and very important, especially not just in ninth grade, but as well as in sixth grade as well. So I'm just very happy about this, and I hope this continues moving forward for years after, because I think that this is also very important to utilize.
Anyone else?
I just want to say thank you to the principals for coming tonight and sharing your excitement with us. And I think it was really important that we gave you this opportunity to shine and that you can really share with us all the great things that you do. And to Superintendent Palazzo, I asked for this to be on, and I think it's the same for you. You do such incredible work, and yet we don't hear it. And I think you have an opportunity now to shine to us about just a handful of things that are happening. I learned a lot tonight, and it was great to hear you educate us to the language of education too, when you're talking about thinkers and learners and communicators, because we forget about that. So thank you very much. I know it takes time to do this, but thank you very much.
Thank you. My last slide was a thank you. As you can hear, everyone has a piece in it, and I appreciate your support. And as the four of us sit here, I also want to say that the thank you goes to the rest of the team, Steve and Gary and all the teachers, because there's a lot of good work on those slides, and I know you see it, so I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to just sprinkle a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. And you have one more piece, Renee?
Yeah,
thank you.
This came from a meeting that we had, I think, in April or May. There was a question about a gas tank on school grounds, and I was unsure of the answer. We do have a gas tank on school grounds, and we actually have the oil tank. And with those who walked through, when we did our walkthrough, we saw where it is, and we saw how it's double, triple locked, so that's a good thing. But we do have a gas tank on school grounds.
So that answered the question about the gas, for all the equipment and everything else, so thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Approval for out-of-state cross-country invitational in Falmouth, Mass.
I make a motion to approve the out-of-state cross-country invitational meeting in Falmouth, Massachusetts.
Any discussion? Yes, Beth.
Is this, I think when I was reading about it, that this has been a reoccurring, so can it go on the pre-approved list? Oh, actually it is? I thought I read.
I think that was the next one I think it was the Vermont one. The next item for,
Oh, okay.
because I think Vermont was the second one, and I think that was on the pre-approved. I think this one wasn't.
So, I mean, not that it's a big deal, but shouldn't we approve all cross-country, New England trips?
Renee, do you want to ask him if he wants to put this on a pre-approved list?
Because what's the one in Vermont?
That's
Thetford,
Thetford.
Vermont.
But the New Englands, they do have to travel. I'm assuming that's already pre-approved to the other states.
I don't know. So, okay, thank you, Beth. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Cell tower funds.
Second.
Any discussion? Did we end up sending out information to the teachers and stuff about the cell tower policy? This is law, I was just asking for, I know we talked about it. for the budget preparers, are they the people that, like, the coaches and, okay.
Well, no. The
Okay.
coaches are separate, they're not athletic, budget preparers are the ones who typically come and request money
Okay.
outside of that.
Okay, so they have a heads up about this, so, okay, perfect, thank you.
I'd like to see the per pupil cost too, because I know we talked about that. So-
It's right on the top.
Yeah, I said it's good to see
Oh.
that's there. Yeah.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The Inside Out grant.
So this is just an approval to extend it. We received the Inside Out grant with the initial completion date of December of '24. We spoke about this at the capital projects meeting. Many schools have requested an extension. We're all vying for the same people. The schools across the state received the grant. So the extension is for us to have it complete by June of '25. So it gives us another year, which is, we don't anticipate it would take that long, but that's the extension that you would approve and sign off on.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the extension of the Learning Inside Out grant as presented in the packet.
Second. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Legal update, Greg, this is you.
Yeah, I asked that we table this because I think a lot of my questions will probably be answered in 17 with the anti-bullying policy. And then there's also a plan to put that on for the policy subcommittee as well. So I think most of it will be cleared up with that. Yeah,
Thank you, Amy.
thank you.
Then when you want it back on, just let us know.
Okay.
So you're tabling it, do you want it on next month's agenda?
Not for now.
Okay.
We'll see.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Video recording, so this is, so you asked this to be on too. Do you want to talk about the next one, Amy?
Yeah, I know that, I don't know where Dave is. I know I apologized in advance for putting this on, but I just feel like, we've given the audio recordings, a trial period. I feel like sometimes we're pretty inconsistent with mics, and it might be best if we just kind of catch up with the times and do it the majority of the state is already doing.
So we had information in our packet. We talked about it a couple months ago, about cost. Does the committee want to have more of a discussion on this? What does the committee wish to do?
I think if we are going to go in one direction, we probably have to decide on it. The costs seem pretty insignificant, especially if we were to do like a YouTube live stream like town council does. I know they do that. So it really would be cameras and the ad hoc pieces. So I don't know if people feel like we should do like a live stream and we could vote on that, then I'm fine with that, but I don't know what everyone else is thinking.
Is there anything else anyone would like to add? Yes, Aaron.
I definitely think that we've definitely had the mics, but I also feel, I agree with Amy that I also believe that we should also have videos, just because of the fact that either sometimes we might be inconsistent with our mics or whatever like that, but also if, say, someone outside of the community, because we all know, like, if someone outside of the community were to listen into our meetings, they wouldn't know who was speaking, to say the least. So I think that it would be helpful just have that as well, just in order to offset that piece of it. I think it's definitely something that we should look into, because I feel that the audio does work, but what's the point of having the audio without, say, a video as well, in my opinion.
Thank you. Anything else? Then you want to make a motion? I mean, what?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve video recording. I don't know if we want to ask Dave how much time he needs to get it.
What do you want to approve, pursuing it? How does that sound?
That's fine. Okay.
Do you want to make that motion, Amy?
Make a motion to approve pursuing video recording of school committee meetings as soon as possible.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Are we video recording or live streaming, or both?
I guess whatever's easiest for whoever's going to be handling that.
Either way, I'm
Dave,
fine.
yes,
Just figuring.
we
Yeah.
need, I want his input, because we're going to need somebody to do it. That's the
Right.
other thing we're going to need to do.
Hi.
Hi, thank you, Dave.
So
Give us
input.
your input.
All right, I have a few things. One is, I feel that if we're gonna do recording video, that we pull Dr. Palazzo and Kyle Bratz off this area, because it's a school committee meeting, and then they should be off to the side, because it'll be tough to cover the whole area. So maybe move them off the side. That's one thing. The second thing is we should look at putting tablecloths on the table, so that we're not staring at your legs at some points. So that would be something that we want to look at when we're doing the recordings. Live streaming is actually a lot easier to do than recording the meeting. I'm actually live streaming this one right now. So our YouTube channel is about 15 seconds behind. So it is playing it live. No one's watching it because they don't know it, but it is playing live. That's why I have the headphones, and you all see me put the headphones on and everything, because I wanted to make sure we didn't make the mistake as I did last meeting with the open mic that was repeating, so we have the echo. So live streaming is actually easier, because once we finish the live stream, it automatically stays up on the channel. So there's nothing more to do. As it goes for the recording and the ad hoc stuff, it depends on how many cameras we go with. If we go with one, we fix it towards the back to face the committee, and we can control it, or we can leave it fixed. It depends on what everybody wants. Time to set up, we'd have to just put in the wiring for the camera, kind of similar to what's being done here. We have to be mindful, though, that when you do go to executive session at the end of the meeting, that there will be takedown time, because we're not going to want to leave a camera in here, because it's a lot more expensive than the equipment that's over there. So we're going to, it'll just be a little bit of that, so it might be more beneficial for you guys to go into the other room or something like that for executive session, maybe move over into 101G instead of staying in here, so that there is time to take that.
If you're doing it now, do you have a camera on us now?
No, it's live streaming, audio only.
Oh, okay.
So do you want to redo your motion, Amy? Would that be okay if we?
Live stream.
Yes, to pursue live streaming recordings.
Okay, make a motion to pursue setting up video for our live stream moving forward as soon as it can be done.
Second.
Oh, you had a question?
Yes, Beth, I'm sorry.
The only suggestion, I think we need to leave Renee, right? Not, I love you, but she is absolutely essential to this group, so.
Many of the school committee meetings that are recorded, the superintendent's off to the side. And
I don't care
and the clerk
really
is-
what other people do.
Okay.
But will they not all fit? Is that your question? So that's the problem. We won't all fit.
We'll get smaller
sit on the
tables,
side.
we can sit closer together, I don't know, but
Do you think there's a possibility of reworking it so we could all be there, or do you think that's not possible?
move the camera back.
Yeah, I'd have to move the camera back and forth.
Yeah.
So when someone's talking, it'll be, back.
Oh,
and forth
gotcha.
sort of thing.
So it'd be more,
More work.
If
Right.
you look at who spoke the most tonight, though, it's you. So, we just should snuggle up, I think.
Yeah.
It sounds odd when I say this out loud, but we use the owls at work that just tune in on whomever is speaking. I mean, I know that there's something, maybe it's poor, I don't know.
Yeah.
But there is stuff out there that can kind of,
Yeah, and the owl doesn't always chime in correctly, because when someone's talking, so say Renee's talking, it's coming out of there.
yeah,
It's not really coming from here.
it's a little bit finicky sometimes.
Yeah.
He's our owl.
The owl hoots though when you turn it on, which is also exciting. But, well, I just defer to our expert on what's most appropriate. The one thing I would add too is that I was comforted to hear that there was a bit of a lag, just in case something does go sideways, that we could cut, put the national anthem or something up, whether it's from here or from, sometimes our public can get frisky, just to make sure that whatever is being broadcast out on, the regional district nameplate is appropriate for the world to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, the other thing is if we do two cameras, we would want to fix one that's that way, so it does face the podium, so if someone is speaking, we can flip between the two. That's a thought. That's why I think I put in the packet about two cameras, possibly.
I know we talked about this before, and we never really settled on it, but I guess if Dave's going to be expected to stay at the meeting and then control the cameras and everything, maybe we consider a small
Stipend.
stipend or something, because I know it got thrown out there. I know he would come anyways and probably do it for no charge, but I think it's only fair.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
something that maybe Dr. Plaza, if you just come up with a number and then we could prove it at the next meeting.
Tablecloths and smaller tables?
And tablecloths.
Yeah, I think we have the tablecloths.
I was going to ask, could we also, I know it's work-based learning, is it also possible, because I know they record graduation, et cetera, and I don't know if that's considered a CTE program or whatever, but could we maybe have that be like a workplace learning type thing of where we actually have students helping out, going forward, maybe just in order to help?
Yeah, so what I'm hearing though is you made a motion for us to kind of move forward and look at the options. So why don't you let us do that? We'll come up with some options next month, which could include who's doing it, what it looks like, live stream recorded, whether it's work-based learning or not. So I think they're all really good suggestions. Let's just come back next month.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thank
perfect.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate everyone's feedback.
So we have a motion.
In a second. Perfect. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Capital Project Subcommittee update.
Sure. So our capital project subcommittee met immediately prior to this meeting around 4:30. We did a walkthrough of the Pontiac High School facilities immediately afterwards, just to give any of the committee members who could make it a chance to get a feel for what the state is of some of the more critical systems within this particular campus. A couple updates from that subcommittee meeting, and please do, Aaron, Pat, weigh in if I can get anything, Steve, of course, as well. Okay. We went through the status of our current capital projects. Things are proceeding. The big milestone coming up is our security system upgrade for really the exterior envelope security. There'll be some pricing coming in next week, and there might be some action items coming forward for this committee following that once it's a little bit more understood what the total cost will be for those really important upgrades to the exterior. The more important one for this larger committee to contemplate is how we're going to handle some of the more big ticket repair items and upgrade items that were identified as part of our May/June meeting when we discussed a potential bond referendum for basically facility repairs and replacement. We haven't done any action since then. The opinion of this committee was made known, but some of those issues do persist. So we discussed them to some extent at our meeting today. We have asked our superintendent and facilities manager to come forward with just what our plan B would be for some of these critical systems should there be an issue, and also to repair immediate items of need now until a more long-term decision is arrived at by this committee. That would include the athletic fields, just understanding what immediate repairs are needed to Band-Aid those facilities to keep them appropriate for the next couple of years and safe generally for playing and for participation. So they're going to put together a list of what those items might be, a timeline for repair, and a general cost for repair for those items for this committee to just digest while we contemplate a larger full-scale potential reevaluation of athletic facilities. The second one is the boiler systems. That is I would say, speaking for myself, I think the other members of the subcommittee, a very pressing need, particularly for this building, but really both facilities. The boilers are old. Existing boilers are inefficient. The wood chip biomass boiler systems do not work any longer and are really not feasible to maintain long term. So our administrative team is going to put together what the budget would be for a contingency plan should those systems fail to work at some point until a more long-term solution can be arrived at by this committee. That will include the timeline for getting a new system in place and what the cost per week, per month, whatever it may be to rent such a system until a more long-term repair can be put into place. At the same time, it was suggested that we go out and get architectural and engineering plans and/or specifications for what a boiler or heating system replacement might cost, so that we might have that in our back pocket and we can move swiftly should that need come about on an emergency basis. Two other items that they're going to look at are going to be window replacement. It was suggested by our facilities team, and I think agreed to by the subcommittee, that as part of that boiler system upgrade, there really needs to be replacement and repair of a lot of the windows, in particular around the high school. They leak. So there's a certain efficiency savings, a tremendous efficiency savings to replace those or repair them at the same time, so we realize the most savings for the district. And the last one would be roofing and some of the exterior envelope. You know, we don't want to put a new unit on old roof, for lack of a better way to phrase it. So they're going to be looking at what the approximate architectural and engineering fees would be for each of those items, so that as this larger committee decides how to proceed with what will be a big ticket item, regardless of what we choose to do, we will have plans in place to act swiftly should the need arise. Erin, did I leave anything out?
Thing I will add to is we use the word, and you used the word about compliant. And I thought that was a great word to use, in that we want to make sure, especially regarding the athletic fields, that we do move in an immediate fashion so that we bring everything up to compliant. You know, that really isn't a want or it's a need. And so we're trying to look at the things from the standpoint of need. And we were pretty upfront about, you know, the boiler thing is a need, and it needs to be addressed, and we need to start. You can't just pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, our boiler died, can you come tomorrow morning and start working on it? So we talked about starting to lay some groundwork so we don't get caught in a crisis management. We want to start being more proactive as we look at our future problems instead of always in a crisis. So those were the two things that kind of, and I think it's going to be up to the whole committee too. If we look at some of those big ticket items, you know, the boiler, the AC, this, do we take that and bundle that up and ask for a bond from the public? Or do we ask for just more capital projects monies? My opinion is that it's harder to get $1 million put aside in the line item for capital, but you can certainly float a good bond out there, and it's a cheaper way to pay for these things because it's stretched out over a long period. So, but that will be for the whole committee, and I think we should continue to put this on the next agenda item. So we just have to stop kicking the can. We need to make some decisions.
I kind of rambled on. It's your meeting. You can call it yourself.
Well, no, but you were talking, so I don't want to interrupt anyone.
I forgot to, Steve, Gary, Dr. Palazzo, did I leave anything out? Okay. Okay.
So it was just, those are all, it's kind of overwhelming and kind of
Sure is.
frightening. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed, big things, not just small. And it sounds like, so architecture, getting prices, so, and then it's going to depend, so we are moving forward with making these repairs. I just don't want to be caught in February without a boiler. I don't want to be caught, you know, not be able to use a football field. So I know you want to address it, and you're getting prices first, and there's a lot for me to take in, Brendan, I'm sorry. I tried to listen, and I apologize.
No.
So is that, did I hear that correctly, that you're looking to get prices, and then you're going to come back to the committee as a whole on what our next steps are? Is that how I interpreted that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're putting it out there on the table saying, we can't keep saying the boiler's going to die. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got to start to lay down some
What you see here
movement.
is what Pat's saying is they could go to try and start the heat in October, and it may not
That's
work.
what I'm saying. So we are looking to get prices? Is that what you're looking to do, to fix
They're
it?
looking to get a price for what the emergency contingency plan would be, should that happen, because a lot of the equipment that we would look to put in there has a lead time that's like, I don't know, 18 weeks, longer.
Yeah.
You can't just go and buy these things overnight. There's a design piece that has to be approved by the state. So what we're trying to do is to make sure that we understand and have a plan in place should that not occur. We are looking to get a design in place for what the full, true replacement will be at the same time, so that we cut that, say, 6 weeks or 8 weeks of design time out of it should the emergency arise, until the full committee kind of makes a decision. Are we going to be bonding these things? Are we tasking the subcommittee to go forward with that again? So I guess it's two parts. We're letting you guys, we're broadcasting out these are real issues, like, that could happen, hopefully it doesn't, these guys are trying hard, they test things, but like, I mean, if you have a house and it has an older equipment, like, that risk is there. And here we have pieces that aren't intended to be running as hard as they are because the biomass is not performing in the way it should. So the oil heat we have is working 4 times as hard as ever. It's running all the time, which is not efficient for the district, and it's not intended to do it. So we're using pieces of equipment harder than we should be, inefficiently. And we need to do something, so.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you are. It sounds
Yeah,
like
we're
you all sound
starting to
like
move in
the
that
same as
direction.
Steve is
And
and
the other good news is that the football field, Gary and Mike had a company come in from South County, and they put down beautiful grass, and football fields look really good right now. You know, we also kind of said, you know, what about the athletic big bond conversation that was out there, like, oh, no, we can't play on the fields, and now the fields look good. I mean, we need to hear from, what are we going to do with that? It's kind of, you know, there's like nothing happening. What are we going to do? What do you want us to do?
Can I ask about the field? Bless you, whoever sneezed. Can I ask Steve about that's great about the fields. Did you just fill in the holes, the sinkholes with gravel and stuff, or
No,
dirt?
it's beautiful.
We had about 3,600 square feet of sod installed over the summer, basically between the 45-yard line, 45-yard line, all hash marks. We did some spot repair where the place kicker continually fixed, that we did it, and also where the cross was and because that also compromised the tree. So lots of spot repair, we oversee it, we stay on it and oversee basically every game, even if we get 10% growth, it's better than no growth. The athletic department has done a fantastic job pushing everybody away from the field, keeping everybody off the field, so the east side has the ample time to, you know, root and adhere to the existing grounds. The team over the summer has done a great job on the field, and hopefully it's the best business.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's great. Thank you. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add or any questions?
I'm just
Yes.
curious if you started the conversation about dividing projects for the purpose of putting the bond conversation back on the table.
Yes, we conversed about it, but I think we're looking for guidance from this larger committee. What does everyone want to do, right? Like, we put forward what the sort of the big package was at the time, and it was, the voice was heard. So now we kind of are in contingency planning as to what to do should these things go sideways, until we have some clear guidance from the rest of the committee that, okay, maybe it's 2 bonds. I'm not really sure. Maybe it's just 1. Maybe we do 1 for these infrastructure pieces at both the middle school and high school. I want to make sure people hear that as well. That the middle school, I know it is a newer building, but a lot of the systems there have like 20-something year lifespan. So they are reaching their warranted lifespan, and we can't have them all go at once. So we're trying to do repairs in a responsible way, so these buildings are functional for a long time. So to answer your question, sorry, I think we need direction from the larger committee. What do you want us to do?
Greg, can we talk about even though it's not on here, can we talk about bond, going out to bond? Can we vote on that? Can we just do you just want an opinion from what is it was a capital projects update, so what are we allowed to do as school committee?
No, but maybe if we get the general,
Can we
is
get a
straw poll
guidance?
okay?
Can we kind of? Okay, that's okay.
We're in the opinion collection phase, I think.
So we need to take care of these schools. We need to take care of those, like the heating system is going to be a big deal. I don't know if by the time you get approval for capital projects, like you said, that's going to be a big ticket item. I know we don't have the dollar amounts. I know we're going by assumption, but it's not going to be cheap because you need a whole new system. So I'd love to hear back if we could find out some bond ideas, but I think it's very hypothetical because we need an idea of how much stuff is going to cost. So I don't know, do you think we can get that for the next meeting? Probably not.
No, I don't think we could get that for the next meeting. I think the values that we had before for the 2 different buckets were about right for both field as well as sort of facility, just to kind of get it up to where it needs to be.
But we saw what happened with the police station. It's never gonna work. That was, we were gonna ask for too much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think the question was whether going out to bond was necessary. I think like, the committee at large wanted to go out
Yeah.
for a dollar amount, but I think the dollar amount that was presented was,
Too much.
yeah, a lot of money. So I think we discussed at the time dialing it back and really prioritizing certain projects, and I think,
That's what we
we'd be
need to do.
willing to put that forward on a smaller scale.
I think maybe what we're going to need to do, and we're going to have to give the lead time to the maintenance people, because they're they're working as hard as they can too, is we're going to have to ask for recommendations of how much we would need to have a bond for facilities, and how much from the AD and the facilities people, what kind of redo on the athletic fields complex do you want, and put some specific numbers to what do you want, A, B, C, and D, or A, B, and C, and put a number to that, and we'll look at 2 different bonds, and then we should put it on the agenda, and the whole committee should talk it out. Let's have a working set, let's talk these things out. We can't just do them in 5 minutes, snap decisions.
So
This is big stuff.
I say this very respectfully to everyone. I do think that committee did it. I think the values you saw were roughly where they will land. And I think that's just the reality of what these things cost.
But
nowadays.
can we
And
prioritize them? Can we take some off of the list to decrease the amount?
You just wouldn't know where to begin?
I will say, I think a good start for all of us is to get with our architects and design teams. We will prioritize our projects. We will have to pay for all the upfront AAVPs, and then we'll get a better idea, a full scope of work with a value attached to it. Basically, without any architectural engineering involvement, we're basically just shooting off the hip
Yeah.
with absolutely no, I mean, we don't know. So
Oh.
until we pay for all these engineering fees, these are all budgetary numbers on capital projects. And as we see in our dust collection system, what goes on paper is an actual cost. That's mine.
I just want to reiterate again that that number is not going to go from like 10 million to like 2 million. That's not it. These are expensive projects. These items cost a lot of money, and these buildings are being built all across the state of Rhode Island right now. So there is no lack of work for any of the contractors who perform these actions. So these numbers you're hearing are approximately correct.
And these are all long-term project implementations. By the time we put something on paper, go through the design process, we'll the approval, which is 3 months at a time, if there's no special meeting. So all these projects, I agree 100%, we all need to start planning actively for all these. Potentially, we might order a boiler tomorrow, and they might tell us it's 50, 60 weeks out.
They will.
And
Let me
that's
answer that.
I'm right. That's my point. I don't know if everybody's aware of that, but like, these things are all long-term planning, long-term implementation, years of planning before you actually make this project happen.
I mean, for context, we're doing, you guys in Gloucester, I think, just did some boilers, correct? And then we're keyed up to do them in Foster. And how much were those, roughly?
300,
Right, and so these are probably bigger, more complicated, like, so these are, numbers are over there, this,
286,000 square foot building.
and there's a lot of stuff that has to come out of those rooms that is not stuff that you just put on the curb. These are things that go in special bags and have to leave, and there's a lot of work just to put things in there and to remove the items that currently reside in those rooms. And frankly, to bring those up to code, there's a lot of issues that just need to be addressed. It's not just, it's expensive.
Beth, did you want to say something still? Sorry.
The amount of that bond was the issue. So if Steve or whoever does all that work, then we're going to have to prioritize maybe these windows that, Walt, I think windows have been on capital projects since, never got done. Right. Maybe they come off the list for another 25 years. But then we have to prioritize, and we have to, so obviously the boiler is a huge issue. So if we start getting all Steve's information now, but when we go to taxpayers, we saw what happened with the police station.
We did, and I would
So
say
I
to
think,
that.
wait a minute, so I think when we go to them, we have to be very specific and ask for a reasonable amount of money, but they will not approve. I mean, while they were discussing the police station, people kept interjecting, hey, did you hear the schools are going to ask for 20? You know, scaring everybody.
Particular that, killed the police department thing was, they wanted, I think it was $20,000. They wanted they wanted a private gym,
Yeah, I'm not criticizing the police.
So people,
guy.
so we have to be really careful that you put you get it.
Information.
Yeah.
You make sure all the
I think
facts
as a
are-
committee, it's really important that we be very clear and transparent with people that this stuff is truly expensive right now. I get it.
Brendan, I get all that, but it does us no good if they vote it down. Then
You know
what
what,
do?
though? Like, we're doing our job by presenting what the responsible choice is for the long-term repair, maintenance, and functionality of this
Yeah.
building.
But
If the
20
taxpayers
million
choose to vote it down, that's up. That's
If
fine.
we don't
That's
have
the way it works.
boilers, then
You can't
everybody's
open. But the
children will be
boilers-
zooming from school, will be zooming.
What we
Boiler
cannot do is
gonna
not present a
cost
choice.
20 million.
So if we could
So-
just, I appreciate everybody's feedback tonight, but I think we're getting off track
Yeah.
only because we're not voting on anything tonight. We're not doing anything. And I agree that we do need the facts. We do need to have the numbers back. And then as a committee, we'll decide from there what we want to do as a committee.
I think we just need to keep this
I
keep this
agree with
in
you.
in our focus
Well, because it's
every
important.
month.
These are all
We
huge
got to
things, and
move
I-
forward on this.
I agree. So Kyle, please keep this as a standing item, if you don't mind, please. I appreciate that. So I didn't mean to stop everyone. I just want to get us on track because I think we're not going to vote on anything tonight because we're just going to wait for the information to come back to us.
And do we need to, Steve, do we need to authorize you to be able to spend X number of dollars to get the
So ultimately, we all
architectural?
have to be conscientious of, all these designs are gonna take time. I highly doubt that Aronian has the availability to drop everything he's doing for our request to start designing boiler systems and this and that. I mean, we have to be mindful of their workload as well. It's gonna be a challenge for us to have realistic numbers for a few of these projects by next month. Will I be able to get one?
I-
Gonna warrant a phone call today or tomorrow and see how much we can put to these. If the school committee wants to move forward and with active with more architects and engineers, that's an option, but Aronian has the most information and understanding of the workings of our facility.
So it's your recommendation, we stick with them. They've got the working knowledge of the building and our systems, but it's going to take time. Do we need to authorize you to be able to do anything so that we can move forward towards the next step?
So basically, yes, I'm going to need some, I'm going to have to reach out with the architect, see what it's going to cost for an architectural engineering fee for a whole boiler design system.
Greg,
Why
we
are
can't
we
make a
doing a
motion.
whole design, though? Can we not just get a rough estimate?
I want an accurate estimate. Because like we talked about many different things in our capital project. We talked about one boiler, in-kind replacement, we talked about adding a separate boiler. He can do the rest.
I would say then perhaps we get both, right? They should, being design professionals, be able to get the information on what the most current prices are for similar and comparable projects for all of these throughout the state, if only based on precedent projects or just dollars per square foot, to inform this committee next month while those designs are going on. Because those designs are going to cost quite a bit of money. And Aronian's not doing them. They're going to have MEP engineers. Correct. That information will not be here until December. if
So
we're
I think what
lucky.
Brendan's saying, so,
Get it,
but I
but by
think,
next month, I believe we could have a price as to what the approximate value for each of these could be. I mean, we're frankly not going to know what the real value is until it's on the street.
so we're just going to keep it as a standing item with hopes it can get done. If it can't, you let us know. It's just, we want it as a standing item, I think, and I agree with Pat, just to make sure that it's present and that we're aware of what's going on. That's all. So, thank you. Yes.
Clarify, is the standing item just going to be capital project subcommittee update, or is it going to be?
I think the update, that sums it up, and then if we have to vote on something, then we'll know the Thursday before and we can add it to the agenda. But as long as we have the capital projects update, that, I appreciate that. Okay. Thank you. Yes. The digital sign, Mark, you asked this to be on. Is there anything,
Yeah.
do you want to talk about it?
Well, I would say, obviously this seems very minuscule after everything we just talked about, but basically I think it would be beneficial to have a digital sign out front, but unfortunately in Gloucester, it's not within zoning requirements. So I'm basically just asking permission, it's probably not town council, but the zoning board to at least present them the idea and see if we could get an exemption as a school to have some sort of small digital sign, nothing crazy. And then if we get approved, then I could present, like, here's the cost, here's what it's gonna look like. So it's just really for me to go on behalf of the school committee and see if we could get an exemption.
So I make a motion to approve moving forward with requesting an exemption from town council or building and zoning committee for digital sign as presented in the packet.
One quick tidbit. So
Your electricity down there.
if you want to move forward with a illuminated sign, there is no power out there anywhere in close proximity to the road. We would have to get another.
Yeah, we're gonna,
we'd have
that's
to
down
get
the
another
road.
electrical service, pay for another meter, pay for more delivery.
Well, there's solar options too, so that's not really what I'm discussing right now. I'm just saying if I can get approval, if we don't get an exemption, then I'm not gonna talk about it.
Just pursuing it for now.
Second.
Thank you, Cindy. All right. Any further discussion? Beth, yes.
Just so you know, when they put that little digital sign near the Harmony Library, it was a big deal in town. Near the fire
When the
station.
fire, it was a big deal. I was on the council at the time, yeah. And I don't know how it even managed to keep stay, but, it was donated to them and blah, blah, but yeah, it was a big deal. Because that's,
So the worst-
it goes
The
to
worst they can
the,
say is no.
I'm just going to say that the word you're
it goes to the comprehensive community plan and everything.
It
So
wouldn't
it's-
hurt
it's
just to
not
ask. If they say
that.
no, they say no.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
that's all it is, so.
just a couple rows that red font, I mean, it's 2024, you know.
I'm just telling you.
But it's a comprehensive community plan issue.
I don't know.
So there's a
We made the
motion,
plan.
and there's a second. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And abstentions? Okay, 810, thank you. Update on cost share, so I asked, there was a lot of things, I asked this to be on the agenda, so everyone had an updated form of cost share agreement of who's being cost shared, and who's not. And there's quite a bit, like the technology, and especially like all the educational aspect, educational support. So thank you for putting your work into this, Mary Ann. I'm sorry, Renee, thank you for putting your work into this, Renee, and giving us the information. Now, do we have contracts with anybody? Do we need contracts with anything?
So the 3 districts share technology, which is your director of IT
Yep.
and your data manager. So the top part of the chart, the first 2, that's their salary. Second one underneath, their benefits. If you notice, buildings and grounds, it says only for 2024, July of 2024, so that's why those amounts are less. The red down at the bottom, those are pending the invoices of FY '25, so they could go a little bit higher. But just so you know, the first one, the Heartland, that's your food service. That goes through our food service. Aspen is your student information system and your internet. So all 3 districts share those 3. Power School, that's essentially your school spring. So just Foster and the region share that. Informacast and Aristotle, again, Foster and the region. Gloucester does not share those with us.
Thank you.
Keep in mind that your facilities is by square footage, and those other ones that you shared, that you see down at the bottom, those pending invoices, the percentages could potentially change because it's based on enrollment, and we don't have the enrollment numbers until October 1st.
Thank you. So do any of these, like the positions that are cost shared, do you feel that a contract is necessary or any type of written agreement, or are we good? We haven't had one in the past. I just didn't know. Is there anything necessary, Greg?
There's been an issue with the Gloucester, for example, the Gloucester Business Office feels like sometimes they don't know exactly what the agreement is, but they get invoices, they feel it's not clear what they're paying and preparing for that. So, yeah, I mean, and I think, I think we talked about this previously when I was here representing Gloucester. Mary Ann was here, that some type of written, it doesn't have to be a formal contract, but some kind of written understanding would be, an MOU or what. And now, having said that, I'd want to obviously meet with Renee. And for example, the director of IT, I mean, how much work does he do here? What exactly, now if Gloucester wants him to videotape their meetings, I mean, things that, just to be a scope, so we understand what the scope of the shared services.
100%. That's why I kind of wanted, I know you said that there were problems in communication, because Mark said there was problems too before with Gloucester. So I wanted to make sure that moving forward, we're doing things correctly.
Yeah, so I mean,
So if you want to bring something forward, Dr. Plaza, and see if there's something, just to kind of make it, there's a better understanding with the Gloucester.
And obviously, I'll, with regard to ones that are shared with Foster, like the IT, I'll coordinate
Work with
with,
Microsoft.
and Mary Ann.
We really haven't had a problem, but
Yeah.
whatever you need to do.
Well, I think whatever we do at one district, we should probably do it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll make it consistent, exactly.
Yeah. So, that's all. I wanted to make sure that everyone was happy and comfortable with the agreement, and there was an understanding of what the expectations were. So, okay, thank you, Greg. So, do you want to put that on next month's agenda?
If I get it done, I will.
So, all right, so why don't you just leave it up to Kyle?
Yep.
Just, all right, so if it's ready, great. If not, we'll put it off till the November meeting. Yeah, whatever. Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. Does anybody have any other questions about the cost shares and what's shared, what's not shared? Nope, we're all good? Okay, thank you. Anti-bullying policy. Pat, I know you asked us to be on. I don't know if you want to, I do agree that I think it's important for everyone to know how to go about it.
Yeah, and the night's getting long, so I'll make this short. I just asked for it to be on because it's the beginning of the school year. I felt it was important for maybe new people in the community or for parents who were unaware that this school committee has an anti-bullying policy in place. It's also on the website, right, Dr. Palazzo? And Dr. Palazzo can probably speak about how you can find it. There's also a form that can be filled out if you feel as though your child's been bullied or is being bullied. Also, after reading this policy, you should understand that a certain criteria has to be met in order for it to be considered bullying. And if there's other behavior that's going on that doesn't meet that criteria, there are the proper avenues to go through of where, we can talk about where a parent starts. You would start with the teacher and the counselor and move up the rung, so to speak. But just important for people to know that our policy, that it exists and that it is, and that we're aware of it, and that we don't think that bullying doesn't happen because of the reports that came out last month where, there was zero bullying at the high school and a few reports at the middle school. So I felt it's important that we didn't want you to think we have our heads in the sand or any of that. But we do have a policy and we do have things in place. So I'm going to turn it over to whoever else. Thank you.
So Renee, if I could interject, I'm sure that you're going to chime in, but the bullying and how to report bullying, it's in the student handbook, is that correct?
Yeah, so the student handbook has how to report bullying. The administrators review it with their students. If a parent suspects bullying or is concerned about it, first and foremost, call the school, the teacher, the counselor. Just contact the school. It doesn't have to be this long form that has to be filled out. Obviously, the more information the parent gives would be the more information that the team could use to gather the data. And that step one is that they gather data with respect to all the information they can, go a little bit further, and then more and more. I call it data gathering. It's not an investigation. It's gathering data, and then there are determinations at the end. We do have this on our policy subcommittee. We met in July as a kind of a first glance, and so it was all ready for us to look and see if the language is what we need. But yeah, so I think there's going to be continued work with the policy language if need be, but we follow the criteria that we're supposed to follow. And there's also a form that was created when I was principal. Prior to me, I did not create it, previous administration. It's a lengthy form, both Pat and Amanda are nodding their heads, of what the administrators have to go through and who they have to work with and how they contact families and when they contact families. There's a thorough process.
look at planning for it, that it's not an entire global required planning in certain intervals. So that is the focus in that
Good, thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. So thank you. Any other questions? Any other discussion?
I was just wanted to say that, Amanda, I think we briefly touched base about just like consequences in general, because I think, it's also important to go further to say that it's not that kids aren't held accountable for behavior that's not expected in the school environment. So I think sometimes, parents don't necessarily have that information. So then when something does happen that perhaps their child might, experience something in the behavior that it's, this is, if you engage in this behavior, this is your set consequence. I think it also is difficult, I'm sure, as administrators to consequence children.
With the student who was the alleged victim, I'd say, they can't be. And there are a range of consequences. And remember that every time a disciplinary action happens, the primary goal is to change the behavior. Works on that, understands the student, the situations way more deeply than we would. And so those consequences are not always one size fits all. And I don't think that's what you're saying. I think the range of consequences are extremely important based on also the behavior. So it is always to change a behavior. If the behavior doesn't change, there'll be a different consequence if it happens again, which is that progressive way of consequencing.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any other discussion? Thank you. Thank you for that. Motion to approve reaffirming the affirmative action policy.
Second.
Oh, okay. That was you. Thanks. All right. All those in favor? I'm sorry. Any discussion? Second reading. So, any other discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve/adopt the long and short-term substitute policy as a second reading as provided in the packet.
Second. Any discussion? Hopefully this helps. Renee? I'm sorry it took so long. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I make a motion to approve/adopt the computer technology and internet responsible use policy as a second reading as provided in the packet.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Public comment? Is anybody, okay. Did you sign in? Sign in first, please. Right here. What's up? No, where you going? What public comment? Up here.
We had it over, we
I know.
used to have it over.
Yeah, we did last time. Keep you on your toes, we're just, mixing it up. Thank you.
So, I'm Heather
I'll make this quick. I'm Heather Kennedy. I'm the one who spoke in reaction a bit about hearing the zero reports. Granted, I didn't know the details on the time frame. So before I comment real quick, let me just give some background. I was the chair for the Special Education Local Advisory Committee for 10 years. I have sat on the State Board of Special Education. I have worked on different things at RIDE. So the bullying policy, the state bullying policy, is not something I'm unfamiliar with. I think my reaction, because I didn't know it was on the agenda, I came for the other fun stuff, right? Was more in addressing the environment that's going on that needs to be looked at. Because when students do report, and teachers, and they do their best, they do, I acknowledge that. However, let me give an example. If one student in particular is being bullied by maybe a group of people, and that reporting process happens, and the student gets addressed by the teachers, the guidance counselor, et cetera, they know who reported the bullying. So what's happening is that when students are asking for help or parents are reporting, it's coming back on that student. My oldest graduated, she stayed a year later. She was extended program as a special education student. She started at the middle school. You know, classic stuff was going around, fun, not so fun things, but I have noticed reaching and still speaking and communicating with parents that there's some kind of toxic environment that's progressively getting worse. And students don't even feel safe to report. I know parents who have gone to the school and don't necessarily feel like it's getting better. And this isn't putting it on the teachers. This isn't putting on the staff or the administrative team, because in my particular situation, and I have reported a lot of stuff, they are attempting to try. The problem is those attempts are leading to backlash against the students who are having harm committed against them. So when I reacted and spoke up last meeting, it was because I was kind of shocked that the idea was going around that nothing's really happening, and I didn't know if that's what people were thinking, so I'm glad that that was brought up. Now, I have a master's in sociology and conflict resolution, so again, not an unfamiliar rodeo to me, and I would like to make myself available. If anybody wants to speak or come up with ideas, I have come to the school. The assistant principal that I'm working at the middle school, he's pretty awesome. I let it go over the summer. There are some other families here who, when they feel comfortable, will probably want to speak up. This isn't a hey, blame game. I just want to make people aware that there's an environment that is getting worse, and a lot of that is not the school's responsibility because it's social media. But the problem is it happens at school, they meet at school, the things occur at school, they get reported and shared on social media. And so I just feel like there should be a little bit more insight and research, and maybe to address a way to protect the students and have them not fear so much reporting because of the backlash that's occurring for them. So I'm hoping, I'm going to be showing up because I learned a lot tonight. I haven't done this. The committee you guys talk about are a lot of tough topics. The boiler thing is pretty, I hope you guys get onto that one. But so I just wanted to formally introduce myself because last time was pretty hectic. The principal at Ponteganta is probably sick of me. She sees me a lot. No, she's great. But like I said, if anybody, and I know you guys have higher needs, and I'll of course go back to the middle school, and I'll go back to the special education advisory committee and continue to work on the ground level. This is more of an awareness to you guys that there's something you need to keep an eye on, because not all of our students are safe at the moment. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your, for the info and for your concerns. Really appreciate it. Is there anyone else with public comment? No? All right, thank you very much. Again, at this point, can I please have a motion for executive session?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to convene to executive session to discuss and/or vote on the following matters: Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5A, privacy of student records, and Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5A, collective bargaining, as well as 42-46-5A, pending litigation.
Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?